You've probably heard that the 50-30-20 rule is the simple secret to getting your money right. But what if it's actually a financial trap that's built for an economy that doesn't exist anymore? For years, I tried to make this rule work, and for years, I felt like I was failing, constantly wondering why I just couldn't seem to get ahead. In this video, I'm going to show you how this popular advice has become a mathematical impossibility for millions of people, and, more importantly, what you can do instead to actually build wealth. First, let's get on the same page. The 50-30-20 rule, which was popularized by Senator Elizabeth Warren and her daughter Amelia Warren Tyagi in their 2005 book, All You're Worth, is incredibly simple. It tells you to split your after-tax income into 3 buckets: 50% for your needs, 30% for your wants, and 20% for savings and debt repayment. Needs are your absolute must-haves: rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, transportation, and insurance. Wants are all the things that make life fun but aren't strictly necessary for survival, like going out to eat, vacations, hobbies, and your Netflix subscription. And that last 20% is for your future self: building an emergency fund, investing, or paying down debt faster. It sounds so perfect, right? So clean and balanced, and that's its biggest appeal. In a world of overly complicated financial jargon, this rule promises a clear path to success. It's no wonder it's everywhere on social media. It feels accessible. But here's the catch. The rule was created for a different world. A world that, for most of us, has long since disappeared. The very simplicity that makes it so attractive is exactly what makes it a dangerous trap. Trying to squeeze your modern finances into a box from 2 decades ago is a recipe for frustration. This is the heart of the problem and the reason you feel like you're failing at budgeting, when in reality, you're just using a broken tool. That 50% for needs? For a huge chunk of the population today, it's a complete fantasy. Let's just look at the reality. According to a 2026 report from Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies, a record-high 22.7 million renter households are now cost-burdened, meaning they spend over 30% of their income on housing. And a staggering 12.1 million of those are severely cost-burdened, spending over half their income just on rent and utilities. Think about that. If housing alone eats up 50% of your paycheck, you've already failed the rule before you even buy groceries or put gas in the car. Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that when you add up all the essentials, housing, transportation, food, and insurance, the average American is spending close to 80% of their income, not 50%. So if your actual needs are sitting at 70% or 80% of your take-home pay, what does the 50-30-20 rule tell you? It tells you you're a failure. It creates an impossible situation where you have to choose. Do you just not save money? Do you cut out every single thing that brings you joy? Or, and this is the most destructive part of the trap, do you go into debt to afford the wants that the rule says you should have room for? This is the first part of the trap. It makes you feel like a personal failure for just trying to survive in the modern economy. It's a rigid, one-size-fits-all rule in a world that demands flexibility. But the trap goes even deeper. Let's talk about that 30% for wants. If you're someone who is buried in high-interest debt, dedicating almost a third of your income to non-essentials isn't just questionable advice. It's financially reckless. Financial experts who advocate for intense debt payoff, like Rachel Cruz, build their entire philosophy on the opposite idea. If you have a mountain of credit card debt at 22% APR, the last thing you should be doing is making sure you spend 30% of your income at bars and restaurants. The smart move is to slash that wants category to the bone and throw every extra penny at your debt. The 50-30-20 rule doesn't encourage this. In fact, you could argue it does the opposite. It gives you permission to inflate your lifestyle, which is a great way to stay stuck in the debt cycle for years. And this leads to the third trap. It completely misunderstands how wealth is built. The rule lumps savings and debt repayment together in one 20% bucket, This is a massive flaw. Paying off a credit card with a sky-high interest rate is not the same as putting money in a savings account. The urgency is different. The financial impact is worlds apart. By just giving you a vague 20% target, it fails to provide a real strategy. It doesn't tell you to build a starter emergency fund first, then attack high-interest debt with gazelle intensity, then shift to investing for retirement. It just gives you a number. It's a rule for maintaining the status quo, not for making real progress. It's a plan for people who are already comfortable, not a tool for those of us trying to get there. So, if the 50-30-20 rule is broken, what's the alternative? You stop thinking in vague percentages and start giving every single dollar a specific job. This is the core idea behind a zero-based budget. The concept is simple, but its power is in its precision. Income minus expenses equals zero. Now, that doesn't mean you have $0 in your bank account. It means that before the month begins, you've made a plan for every single dollar you earn. You list your income at the top of a page. Then, you list all of your expenses, starting with the most important ones. You assign money to giving, saving, rent, utilities, and debt payments first. Here's why this is a total game changer. A zero-based budget is built on your reality, not some arbitrary percentage from a book. If your needs are 75% of your income, your budget reflects that. It forces you to be honest with yourself. It might show that your wants category is only 5% for a little while, and that's okay, because a zero-based budget isn't about shame, it's about control. You are the one who decides what's important. When you're staring down a mountain of debt, your zero-based budget might mean your eating out category is zero for a few months, so you can make a huge extra payment on your credit card. You're not stealing from other categories. You're making a conscious, strategic choice. And once you're debt-free with a healthy emergency fund, your budget changes with you. That money you were throwing at debt now gets a new job, investing for retirement or saving for a down payment. Your budget lives and breathes with your life. It's a dynamic tool for hitting your goals. For those who want to get even more aggressive with wealth building, you can use what's known as reverse budgeting, or the pay yourself first method. You figure out your essential survival costs, pay for them, and then every dollar in the gap between your income and those costs goes first to your investments and savings goals. Wants are paid with whatever is left over. This completely flips the script from the 50-30-20 rule, which encourages you to spend on wants before you've truly secured your future. The truth is, budgeting isn't about being restrictive. It's about being intentional. It's about telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And the best way to do that is with a plan that fits your actual life. If you're ready to ditch the broken rules and build a budget that finally clicks, I want to help you get started. I've dropped a link to a free zero-based budget template in the description below. It takes less than an hour to set up, and I promise it will give you more clarity and control over your finances than you've ever had. And if this video was helpful, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. On this channel, we're all about real, actionable financial advice. No outdated rules allowed. For millions of people, the 50-30-20 rule isn't just outdated. It's a trap that leads to guilt, frustration, and feeling stuck. It pushes a reality that doesn't exist for many, encourages a poor use of your money, and fails to give you a real strategy for getting ahead. Your financial plan shouldn't be based on percentages that don't match your life. It should be based on your income, your expenses, and your goals. By embracing a zero-based budget, you move from being a passive follower of rules to an active, strategic planner of your own future. You stop trying to fit your life into a budget and start building a budget that fits your life.